Hello, fellow trumpeters and musicians. My name is Josh Rzepka, and today is Mute Monday. Now, if you're new around here, Mute Monday is a weekly series where I discuss and demonstrate different trumpet mutes. Before we get started, if you have yet to download my free mute handbook, click the link below. Enter your email address and I will send it directly to your inbox. It is filled with tips and tricks that will help elevate your mute game, and it will help you play better starting today. Now, for today's video, I am very excited to be sharing with you 5 straight mutes from Mutec. If you're unfamiliar with Mutec, you've got to check them out. They are making fantastic mutes, and I'm very excited to be sharing all 5 of these mutes with you today. Starting off, we have got their plastic straight mute. This is a fantastic mute. It is black plastic. It's got a nice little dimple here on the bottom, and actually all of them have that design, and it fits in the bell very well. It is not very heavy, it is very well balanced, and I think you are going to be surprised by how this mute sounds. Next is the aluminum straight mute, and this is their standard aluminum straight mute. Check it out, same design. It's really a well put together mute. The craftsmanship on these is fantastic, and again, this is very, very well balanced. This is actually the lightest of all of the mutes. The plastic straight mute, this one right here, it actually weighs 86 grams. This one here only weighs 66. This is a very, very light mute, and it plays great. Next, we've got the copper bottom straight mute, and then also the brass bottom straight mute. Both of these mutes, they are the same shape, they are the same dimensions. Again, all of these straight mutes are the same dimensions. This one has got copper on the bottom, check it out, super nice, and this one here has got brass on the bottom. And the different metals, they just sound a little bit different, and the articulation is a little bit different, the response is a little bit different, so you're going to hear how these all sound compared to each other. As far as the weight of these two mutes, this one here is 93 grams, this one is 96 grams. They are nearly the same weight, although both of these are more than an ounce heavier than the aluminum version. Now last up, we have got the all copper straight mute. Check this out. This mute is just beautiful. All copper. I love the look. There is the logo right there, Mutec, and what a nice mute. Check that out. I love the look of copper. Looks so sharp. This is not a light mute. This mute is 155 grams. This is more than twice as heavy as the aluminum version and more than 50% heavier than the copper bottom or the brass bottom. So obviously this mute is going to sound a lot different than the other ones because there is so much mass inside of the mute. It's going to vibrate differently and it's going to project differently. So it'll be great to hear those all side by side so you can really compare them. Now, besides straight mutes, Mutec has an entire line of Harman mutes and cup mutes, and I will be demonstrating those in a future video. Without any further talking, here are all 5 of the Mutec straight mutes. All right, so you've just heard all 5 of these fantastic Mutec straight mutes. What did you think about them? Which was your favorite? Comment below and let me know. I actually am really very interested to know what all of you think about these mutes. Now, earlier I said that you may be surprised with how this plastic straight mute sounds. What did you think about this mute? This plastic straight mute, I mean, first of all, it looks really sharp. This is a cool looking mute, and I dig that. And it's got a nice balance to it. I think that this mute plays terrifically. This is actually one of my favorite mutes of all of them. I would say if I had to pick a top 3 of all these mutes, this would be in that list. And some of the things that I really like about this mute, first of all, the intonation is fantastic. And the articulation and the response on this mute is just great. It is a great sounding mute. It is nice and even. It's got a nice, big, full sound. And it is not too metallic. It's not too bright sounding, which for me means that I can really use this in a lot of settings. It's very versatile. Sure, it's not going to have as much cut as the heavier mutes, but if you're playing in a big band or you're playing in a brass quintet, or if you're playing in a smaller ensemble and you need something that's going to have a nice sound to it, but it's not going to be too abrasive, this is going to be your mute. So, like I said, you may have been surprised by this one. I certainly was surprised when I first got this mute with how great it played. Next up, the aluminum straight mute. Well, this is really just a great example of an aluminum straight mute. It sounds great. It is nice and even. There's nothing really too exceptional about it. If Mutec didn't have any other mutes besides the plastic one and this one, they would be all right. However, I think you could hear that there was a substantial difference between this and the copper bottom, the brass bottom, and then the fully copper mute. And because of that, this one kind of takes the back burner for me. Sure, it's a great mute, but when all these other options are available, why would I stick with this one when I could move on up and get one of these two? Now, the copper bottom. So many people, they love a copper bottom mute, and this has got a great bite to it. It's got a great edge. It really projects very well. However, I just love how this brass bottom one sounds and how this one plays. The brass, it's a nice color, it's cool, it's gold, great, all right. But this mute in particular, I think of all of the mutes, this is probably my favorite. This is so versatile. It's got a great sound. It's got a fantastic projection. It really plays well low. It plays well high. The articulation is nice and even. I was very, very impressed with this mute. And this is a mute that I could see bringing to gigs and using all the time because it is a fantastic mute. Now, last up, the heavy all copper mute. Now, I am certain you could hear the difference when I put this mute in and when I played. The core and the body of the sound, the projection, the edge on the articulation. This mute really barks. This mute has got a lot of edge to it. If you are playing in an orchestra and you need to just cut through everything and through everyone, if you're in wind ensemble, if you are playing a solo and you need a really loud mute, this is the mute for you. This is a great mute. It plays very well. The only thing that I would say about this mute is that for me, it's just too much mute. It's too bright. It is too much intensity to the sound, but that might be exactly what you need. That's why I played all these mutes for you so you could hear the difference between all 5 of them. And that's why I love doing these demonstrations where I can compare all of the different types of mutes, particularly from one brand, one after the next, so you can really hear what these companies are offering, and hopefully it will help you make a better decision, and it will allow you to get the mute that you love and that you're going to play and bring to gigs and really be happy with the results that it gives you. So hopefully you enjoyed hearing all 5 of these Mutec mutes. Now, coming up next week, I will be doing another video on practice mutes. After the first practice mute video I did a couple weeks back, I had a lot of people message me saying, what about this mute? What about that mute? So I figured I would do another video and include some more mutes. I've got at least 5 more mutes to be sharing with you. Maybe 6 or 7, it depends if I can get my hands on a couple more in the next week before I film. But we will be hearing at least 5 more practice mutes next week, so I'm very excited about that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, give it a like, give it a share, And if you have yet to subscribe to my channel, I hope that you will subscribe. It really makes a very big difference. I want to thank you again for watching today, and I will see you next week.